Ladies and gentlemen, my name is...
It doesn't matter what your name is. My belly's just a little big. My hand is just a little big. But, brother, I am bad, and they know I'm bad. Loaded up with alcohol, more specifically vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer. It's about the 14 years it took me to go from undesirable to ungoddamn deniable. Give me what I want.
3 ain't enough now, I need 5. Welcome in Jim, Ryan, Matt, Tim, and intern Mark.
And after tonight, none of you in this ring will ever be the same again.
Oh my goodness, what do we do? There's a 1, there's a 2. Oh!
Wow.
Welcome, everyone. 3 Count Thursday live here on our Facebook page. It is Thursday, July the 9th, 2020. We are glad to be with you. And sorry we were a couple minutes delayed. I changed up my setup down here a little bit. But we are live. We are the podcast of the millennium. We have tons to talk about this week, including setting the field, a look at history, and a new title. But first, make sure you go to 3countthursday.com. That's where you'll find everything 3CT related, our social media, our merchandise over at whatamaneuver.net.
What a maneuver.
Thank you, Tim. Our Patreon page, patreon.com/3CountThursday. Our home network, of course, NGSC Sports. We also stream daily at leapsports.com. Ryan, that would be?
LEEIB sports.com.
Thank you. Also, make sure that you are subscribed to our podcast feed as well as our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to the full show podcast on all podcast platforms, iTunes, Spotify, and pretty much any podcatcher that's out there. But also make sure you subscribe to the Hot Tag podcast as well. And if you want to get anybody interested in our show, send them to the Hot Tag, because those are just a couple of segments per week. Some of our best work from each show goes up on the Hot Tag and get people on there. But if you are subscribed on Apple Podcasts, please rate and review the show. So yeah, that's where we're at. I want to say welcome into all the guys. Ryan,
How you doing?
I'm okay, Jim. How are you?
I'm doing well. Matt,
How you doing?
Doing well. I still have like 2 weeks of my quarantine here until I can finally get a haircut. So I'm really looking forward to that because I hate my hair long.
you could just go like me and Ryan and just buzz it clean off, but
Getting to that point.
and Tim,
How you doing?
I'm better now that I know you don't have to hit that button anymore.
How you doing?
Telling me, is that Big Cass?
no, that's Stone Cold.
Oh, it's Stone. Okay, all right.
Does that make you feel better that it's not Big Cat?
Yes, but he said it to. He probably said it to those jamokes. I'm great.
He may have.
I'm great. It's my favorite time of the year. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
Can we just start? Can we just start already, please?
Yes. Well, okay.
Ready.
Do we want to do the recurring weekly segment, or do we want to jump right in?
We need to do the segments. There's order and law here. Law and order.
Yes. Send it.
All right.
I'm going to tweet that shit. Law and order.
Each and every week now, we are, as I debuted last week, we were doing a segment.
On this day.
So I just want to wish a happy birthday to some superstars that were born.
On this day.
Kevin Nash, 1959. Marco Mero, 1960. Salvatore Sincere was born
on this day
in 1968. Shelton Benjamin in 1975, and Andrew Everett in 1992. Also, in 2000 was the infamous WCW Bash at the Beach, where Hollywood Hogan pinned Jeff Jarrett after Vince Russo had Jarrett lie down for Hulk Hogan. Of course, after the match, Russo fired Hogan, declared that Jarrett was still the champion, and an actual championship match be held against Booker T, who then won the title. Hogan took the belt with him. Although the firing was meant to be kayfabe, the event would go on to be Hogan's final appearance in WCW. He subsequently filed a lawsuit against Russo for the alleged shoot comments made in a promo nullifying his match, which was dismissed in 2003. Also, in 2007, WWE signed former $1 Million Tough Enough competitor Daniel Radomir, a Florida native. Radomir never made it to the WWE main roster. In 2008, TNA issued the following press release announcing they had signed former NASCAR star Hermie Sadler. Interestingly, the release that had listed Ron Killings as a, quote, TNA star, as if he was part of the company, although he had departed already for WWE. Also, in 2012, former WCW star Marcus Bagwell was arrested in Cherokee County, Georgia for reckless driving. He was later released on bond. And finally, in 2013, Matt Morgan is released from TNA upon his request. So that was...
I thought that all of these were going to be like good news until we just decided we wanted to dunk on Buff.
So that was this week's for July the 9th, of course, and you can see above me, happy birthday to the wild man, Mark Marrow.
I'm glad you didn't sneak in just a random Bret Hart one.
I looked. I looked over from a couple of sources, and I couldn't find any interesting Bret Hart tidbits.
Bret didn't have the flu or strep throat or anything on this day.
No. He did not have any of those ailments.
You didn't find anything interesting about Bret Hart, huh? That's crazy.
Jeez. All right. Welcome into the show, Devin, watching along with us, Frank watching with us, Lou, the Ringsiders. Frank is with us as well. So if you are following along in the live video, first off, we welcome you in tonight. We hope you're doing well. And also please give the video a like and a share. Get as many people in here as possible. We would appreciate that. Now, quickly, Tim. Now, before we get to the exciting moment at hand, this is something I meant to share with the group last week, but I forgot because Ryan didn't remind me on the air because I asked him to. But last week I had found online somebody shared a picture of the menu from WWF New York. So I assume
that's on me. I totally forgot.
Yeah, it's just one page. I assume it's the entire menu because it goes from, or at least it's part of it. It goes from pastas. There's main entrees, desserts, beverages, and then a kids menu.
No apps.
No apps. So yeah, this may have been just one of the pages. And like, I think one of the most disappointing things out of this entire thing, as I'm looking down over it, is there's not even any like, well, there's one, the People's Sunday. That's the only like clever name for any dish, because it's just like Tower of Lasagna, penny and shrimp and pasta and pink sauce. Like there's no like, Austin's ribeye or something like that. But the People's Sunday is a warm rock size chocolate chip cookie topped with vanilla bean ice cream, chocolate and caramel sauce, whipped cream, chocolate shavings, and pinned with a cherry for $6.95.
It's a 6'5" cookie.
Yeah, for only $6.95. That's actually a great deal. No wonder. How did this place not stay in business?
Jeez.
Give me your best wrestling themed like menu item.
Wow. I have no idea. There's the
Shano mac and cheese.
There we go.
The world's strongest sandwich.
The world's strongest sandwich. Nice.
The world's strongest slamwich.
Ooh, there you go. Oh man, yeah, I can't even think of any. I'm like brain dead today.
The Stones and Boneyard match where it's ribs and meatballs.
But yeah, nothing really like tremendous. It's just basic ass, Americana food that I assume was poorly priced as well. I mean, like barbecue spare ribs. Oh, so I guess in the descriptions, like the barbecue spare ribs, a big show portion of slow roasted ribs finished, and it's a little blurry. The picture is blurry, but yeah, that was like $20. So I guess
you can have the open face gobbledygooker. That's a good one.
There you go. I like that. Oh, so Frank, I guess, had gotten the WWE cookbook. He says Rikishi's pot roast is wonderful. Devin says
the JR one, the JR one. I think JR had a cookbook, or maybe just JR was on the front of it.
I think JR helped write the cookbook.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, there was one. I think it was had been on the WWE shop at least for a while. I don't know if it's still there or not.
Sauce it.
Tim, do you still have any main event mustard in the cabinet at Denise's household?
I don't currently.
We got to fix that. I'm gonna do that right now. I
had run out of that a while ago. And then for a long time you couldn't like buy it anywhere online. It was no longer on the shop site, and like JR hadn't gotten a new online retail for, but I think he does now. I think you can buy it again.
Yep, you can buy it on jrsbbq.com, and I'm about to buy you a bottle right now.
Attaboy, I like you. Ryan, you want one too, or?
It gives me the shit. It's delicious, but it clears me out. I don't know why.
Well, what really does it at this point? Like, you eat like a leaf of lettuce, and you're like hauling ass to the bathroom.
You ain't wrong.
All right, so one of the reasons that we're super excited for this week's show is because as we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, and we had a bunch of viewer submissions, listener submissions. We appreciate every single person who sent in their list of top WWE theme or wrestling themes of all time, not necessarily WWE themes. So I want to thank everybody for that. You're getting a Kobe for doing that. We appreciate it. So now, as we've been discussing amongst ourselves, Frank says Stone Cold's "Oh Hell Yams." I like that. I like that a lot. So as we've been talking about how are we going to put this whole thing together. So we took all the votes, we took all the submissions, we broke it down, and tonight we are going to unveil the field of 64. So this is going to be the field of 64, the 64 themes that make the cut. I think we have a couple of play-in matchups as well, Tim.
We do.
Is that live? Is that ready to go out?
That is ready to go, but I want to first of all urge our wonderful listening audience at home. Now is the time for you to actually like, share the podcast.
Yes.
Because this is the main event right now. To give you guys an idea of how excited I am, I made it. If you've ever seen Parks and Recreation, there's an episode where it's Valentine's Day and Ann Perkins is single. And so, gosh, what is her name? Leslie Knope puts together a big Valentine's Day party to get her a date. Well, also, she puts together this scavenger hunt for her boyfriend, Ben. Ron Swanson helps Ben and secretly loves this shit. So he's like, don't ever do this for me again. And then at the end of the episode, he goes, please do this for me for my birthday. When we were tabulating all of these votes, I made it seem like, oh, I'll do it. I'll put this all together. And Jim was just like, go for it. And then secretly in my head, I'm like, this is my kink. I love this shit. Stats. You mean to tell me I get to sit through many people's tabulation lists and count how many times somebody said something and then make a spreadsheet and then average stuff out and count. Dog, I'm here for this. This took me back to my childhood when I started making, when I was doing wrestling feds on video games and my action figures. I love this shit. This is it. So this is my life's work for 2020. Since 2020 is taking so many things from us, much like Santana from Glee, rest in peace.
Ooh.
And now I'm giving back. So, Jim, can you give me the power to show my screen?
You can do that yourself, can you not?
Can I?
Yeah, I think you should be all right to do that.
Host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh shit.
Please enable.
Let's see. Now try it. Nope.
Try.
Now try it.
Hey, hell yeah.
You got it? Is it okay now?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
sorry about that.
What we've got right here. This is the master spreadsheet.
Wow.
As you can see, we had 134 different submissions.
Wow. What a beaut.
For this podcast.
That's
for
a lot.
this tournament of 64. So.
Wow, you really did go all out on this thing, man.
I did. Really did.
Yeah, this is much more elaborate than I would have done.
And so every person who voted, now, unbeknownst to you, the order in which you wrote your list was your power rankings.
Ooh.
I wish I would have known that going in, but it does make sense.
Right. But here's the thing. So the host of the pod, so the five of us actually gave, for the most part, most of us gave more than 20 themes. So that was our way to kind of skirt the system and try to get extra votes in where they were. And the power ranking only comes into effect if there's a tie for the number of times a theme was voted for. So for example, there was only, there's two themes that were tied for most votes. And because of average placement, that's how we determined who was the number 1 seed, who was the number 2 seed, and also how we got about creating our play-in matches. The play-in matches, this is where the 3 Count Thursday boys are flexing their muscle.
That's right.
And we're this is the only outside influence that we're putting into the tournament. The bottom 5 themes that are listed on the bracket are in play-in games against a theme from each of ours lists that didn't make it.
Okay, got it.
So,
got it.
So to give you the rundown on that, you're gonna get to see a lot of different things. But I want everyone to kind of focus in on, actually, let me see if I can pause my screen share. Okay, so we're stopping the screen share for just a second because I only want to share a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a wee little bit.
But yeah, once we have the play-in games, once those are determined, I will give you guys the link. You can go to that, and I'll put it in the comments then of the live video, so you can go there and vote on those in just a minute. Once we get those results in, we will fill out the remainder of the bracket, and then
shameless plug.
And then we will open, and then we will open up the voting for the and to determine the greatest entrance theme of all time. And of course, because we are the greatest podcast of all time, that means that the winner of this is by far the best. There's no argument or dispute to that once we determine this one.
So the top the bottom 5 seeds were Brock Lesnar's theme, Slow Chemical, Kane's theme right before he lost the mask, the Chronic theme from WCW, the Hollywood Blondes theme,
okay,
and Vader's WCW theme.
Okay.
Those 5 are going against a theme handpicked by at least one of us on the podcast.
Got it.
So in order to challenge the number 5 seed, Cult of Personality, it is Brock Lesnar's Next Big Thing versus the Undisputed Era's Undisputed.
Damn.
To challenge the top of the St. Louis regional bracket voices.
I like it.
It is Slow Chemical versus the Hardy Boys Loaded.
Damn. Okay.
To challenge the top of the Venice Beach regional, Real American, it is Chronic versus the Rockers theme.
I don't know how that happened. Somebody must have hacked
the Rockers. Can you get any more generic with the fucking wrestling theme?
Chronic versus the Rockers. I apologize. I'll try and solidify the security over here
I swear to God, James, this will fucking destroy the podcast.
In what might be the biggest matchup of the play-in bracket or the play-in round, the Hollywood Blondes theme is taking on Evolution's Line in the Sand.
Man, that's a pretty serious matchup.
And to challenge the number 1 seed in the tournament, the Toronto Regionals Metalingus, it is Vader's WCW theme taking on Victoria's All the Things She Said. Now, folks, I didn't leave you guys empty-handed. So if you go to the link in, can I not copy this because I don't actually own Office? I sure can. Yeah, I can. There we go.
Woo! Woohoo!
Okay. So in the chat, in the comments, there is a link to a curated playlist of all 10 of these songs.
Fantastic.
You don't have to guess what the theme sounds like. It's there. So go through, listen to the 10. They're actually, if I'm right, they are in order from top to bottom. So it's Brock Lesnar, Undisputed Era, Slow Chemical, Hardy Boys, Chronic, Rockers, Hollywood Blondes, Evolution, Vader, and then All the Things She Said.
All right.
So,
awesome.
But that's not it. Big Jim, I think you have something that you can drop in the chat.
Yeah, I'm dropping in the comments right now. And once you go and you listen to those themes, so you can make your final verdict on the play-in matchups, you can simply go to tinyurl.com/3CT play-in. That's the number 3 CT play-in, tinyurl.com/3CT play-in, and that will get you to the voting for the play-in matchups finalize the field of 64, the official 64 themes that will go into this bracket.
Yes. So you can only vote once, just to make sure that there's no funny business.
Yeah, this is all science. This is across the board. This is straight up.
It's scientific.
Absolutely.
I take my bracket seriously.
Obviously.
I do. I didn't spend 2 days working on 6 different documents for this, including a tournament bracket that for some reason just didn't save. So I have to redo a whole bracket again. If maybe, I don't know. But we'll figure it out. But you guys see the play-in right now. I also have the full first round that we can look at. There's no links for it yet because
it's not set.
We have to get the play-in round first, and then we can officially release the first round. But we can whet everyone's appetite.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Let's do that.
Lou, this will all be posted on 3countthursday.com. This exact one sheet, as well as the links to the playlists and the links to vote. Everything will be on 3countthursday.com. They'll be on all of our social media. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, it'll be there. So not only is there a playlist for the play-in, but there's also a playlist for every other regional as well.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
All 68 themes are in their place, with the exception of the 5 play-in games. But once we have those, I will add the winner into that particular regional so that they are all there together. So this is the first time anyone else besides me has seen the round, the list, the lineup of 64. So here we go.
All right, let's see it. I'm so excited.
So we're going to go top to bottom from the Toronto regional to the Victoria regional, the Venice Beach, and the St. Louis.
All right.
Metalingus versus the winner of Vader and Victoria. The number 32 seed, Flight of the Valkyries, the Daniel Bryan theme, is taking on the number 33 seed, Hitman, the Bret Hart theme.
I have a bad feeling about that
matchup. Let Me In, the Fiend theme, is taking on Roddy Piper's Scotland the Brave.
Wow.
Which technically isn't Scotland the Brave.
No, but that's what they named it, right?
So Scotland the Brave is an actual song that is in the Roddy Piper theme.
Okay.
So what's on the playlist is Roddy Piper's WWF theme.
Gotcha. Okay.
The DX theme, Are You Ready, is taking on the Future, Asuka's theme. Low key banger matchup right here.
That's going to be a tough one.
In the intern Mark special of the bracket, it is the Dusty Rhodes Common Man Boogie taking on the Rougeau Brothers All American Boys.
Okay.
In a battle of the paint, it is Finn Balor's Catch Your Breath against Sting's Man Called Sting theme.
Wow.
In a dark horse for the bracket, I believe somebody's gonna get it. The Mark Henry theme is taking on the Miz's I Came to Play.
No kidding.
And in the bottom of the bracket, it is Judas by Fozzy for Chris Jericho taking on Hard Times, the Big Boss Man theme.
A little bit of the bubbly.
So just from looking at this grouping of 16, what matchup are you guys most looking forward to in the Toronto regional? We'll start with Big Jim.
I'm really intrigued by the DX versus Asuka one because I think those two are all-time great themes. But like it's gonna like the weight of that matchup is gonna be, do you go like with the history, with the Attitude Era? Oh, there you go. Got a bigger text. Like, do you go with the history and the angst of DX, or do you go with like who has arguably been one of the best performers in the WWE for the last couple of years? Is recency bias going to play out, or is history going to play out?
Very, 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 very astute observation. What about you, Matt?
I like your dark horse pick because I really enjoyed both of those teams. I didn't put either of them on my list, but looking there, I don't know what I'm going to choose in between somebody's going to get it versus came to play. So I'm anxious to see how that one fares out. The rest, I have a pretty good idea which way I'm leaning, but that one's the one that's going to be the toughest for me.
Now, it might be Kismet, it might be fate, but The Miz is the 40th seed, and he was the 40th WWE champion. So, is there a numerology in the stars for The Miz? But either way, it's going to be tough. Ryan, what's your pick for what's your dark horse, or what's your matchup in the Toronto Regional?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm really intrigued by Let Me In by The Fiend and Scotland the Brave by Piper. It kind of goes with Jim. Are you going with recent banger or something that you've grown up with and it's always like made my head snap if I wasn't necessarily listening or watching the TV growing up, but hearing the bagpipes. So that's I don't know how I'm going to vote for that round already.
That's the beauty of this, is that you'll also have the playlist for the Toronto Regional. So you'll be able to hear these themes as you vote or before you vote, to be able to know how you feel. What's also might be a low-key banger, depending on how the play-in game goes, is Metalingus could go up against All the Things She Said. And if that's the case, there could easily be a 64 over a 1.
I don't know, man. Like,
that's tough.
I was really amazed to see Metalingus at the very, very top of this this whole thing. So, like, to me, that tells me that not only between us, but the 3 count audience has a pretty high value on Metalingus, as they should.
Yep. So carrying on, we're now going into the second seeds bracket, which is the Victoria, Texas Regional. And if that gives you any idea, it is the Stone Cold Steve Austin bracket.
Nice.
So the top seed of the bracket, I Won't Do What You Tell Me, the Stone Cold theme, is taking on the winner of the Hollywood Blondes or Evolution. So Austin could be taking on himself in the first round.
That is true.
Yes. In the next matchup, the Hollywood Rock theme is cooking. Is taking on Lita's theme, Love, Fury, Passion, Energy. That's a classic one. The Game, Triple H, is taking on WCW theme, Simply Ravishing, for Rick Rude. Now, I'm going to use this matchup as an explanation.
Okay.
As explained before, we did the bracketing. Only one theme for one person. So, to be completely honest, Rick Rude's themes, both of them were nominated. The Triple H had 3 themes nominated.
Right, because this wasn't the Triple H theme that I had nominated.
There was votes for My Time, there was votes for this, and there was votes for King of Kings, and there was also 4. Someone also voted for Ode to Joy. So 4 Triple H themes made it. The top most vote getter is what represents that wrestler in the tournament.
Okay.
So if you don't see your particular theme in there, but you see your wrestler, that's why.
Gotcha.
Next up, in a battle of the couples, it is Randy Savage and Liz, Pomp and Circumstance, taking on True Love, the Mike and Maria Kanellis theme.
Oh, yeah!
Damn. And this is the actual theme, not Stone Cold Sing.
This is the actual theme.
I wanted to make sure that was clear.
This is the actual theme, the love ballad, not Stone Cold's.
Okay, just wanted to clear that one up.
The classic Ric Flair theme, also Sprach Zarathustra, takes on One of a Kind, the Rob Van Dam theme.
Okay.
In a battle of CFO money, or the CFO's bangers, we've got Sasha Banks, The Sky's the Limit, taking on Bobby Roode's Glorious Domination. Bob! Carrying out the rest of the bracket, we've got Bad Street USA taking on the Booker T Anthem. And at the very bottom of the bracket, it's only fate that on the opposite sides of the Austin bracket, you have Mr. McMahon and No Chance in Hell taking on Mankind and Wreck.
That's a matchup.
That's a match like this. These middle brackets are extremely tough because you're getting like themes really close together.
Yeah.
So we'll go in reverse order this time. Ryan, what matchup from the Victoria Regional are you excited about?
You have to go with No Chance in Hell, the Mr. McMahon theme versus Mankind theme. Just going back to some of their feuds themselves and just the way they've all worked in and around Steve Austin's career. It's a great way to wrap up this bracket. So McMahon versus Mankind.
Matt.
Yeah, that one was mine as well. You know, again, the one that's going to be the toughest for me to choose. Beyond that, I think the Sasha Banks versus Bobby Roode is the second toughest for me to pick which one I enjoy more, but I think McMahon versus Mankind is going to be tougher.
Big Jim.
Yeah, I was going to say Sasha versus Bobby Roode because, you know, not that like there's a lot of good themes recently, but like I feel like these two are some of the better ones. Like I feel like Bobby Roode's entire WWE/NXT career is defined by his theme. So that one's really strong. But the I'll say The Rock and Lita as well to be a little bit different because like to me Hollywood Rock is just, I mean, it's like the ultimate banger for The Rock out of the different themes, but Lita's theme is a solid one as well.
And depending upon how that matchup and the top first round matchup goes, we could get Rock Austin 4 in the second round of the tournament.
Right, the rematch that never was.
The fourth match, the finale of the finale.
Man, that's a tough bracket. That's a tough bracket. I'm almost scared to see what the other two are.
Just wait, because now we roll over to Venice Beach, California, and we go into the Hulk Hogan bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Hulk Hogan will play the winner of Chronic and the Rockers.
Okay.
Carrying on, the original Undertaker theme is going against the NWO Wolfpack theme.
Okay. So original Undertaker, that's 2 gongs and then just the organ, right?
So this is Graveyard Symphony.
Yeah.
So
okay.
that's what. So it's in the playlist.
That's true. Yes. And those will obviously go live once the brackets go live.
Yes. The Battle of the Stables as the Brood's theme takes on the 4 Horsemen.
Nice. See, Charlie asked. He said, "Where's the Brood?" Here you go.
Oh, it's
Charlie.
there. It's
Venice
there.
Beach. It's there.
Yes,
Man.
sir.
Wow.
The next matchup, I Walk Alone versus Root of All Evil. Batista versus Aleister Black. 2 bangers, just button heads in the first round. Going on, the number 11 seed, Unstable, the Ultimate Warriors theme, is taking on another dark horse for me personally. I Bring the Darkness, the Baron Corbin theme. In a matchup of non-WWE implications.
Wow, okay.
It is AJ Styles' TNA theme, I Am, taking on Raven's ECW theme, Come Out and Play.
Okay.
Next up on the bracket, the Sandman is in the tournament as Enter Sandman takes on the Mr. Perfect theme.
Wow.
And of course, if you've got Hogan in the top of the bracket, the NWO might as well fit on the bottom.
New
World Order.
As the NWO, the original NWO theme takes on possibly Matt's dark horse pick to win the entire tournament, Shane McMahon, and Here Comes the Money.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Now,
And just pretend there's a closed parentheses.
Some
right
of my insider sources told me that Matt tried to bribe to get Shane's up higher on the bracket. Is there any truth to that?
No, the podcast is pure.
Okay.
We're not letting it. Charlie asks, how is Saliva ranked higher than the Brood? It's all based on power rankings because if you had the same number of votes, it then went to, when you're this close, like it all went based on like the way that the way that they were listed in the email submissions. So I wouldn't put too much pressure or too much power in, like, if you see a theme within like 5 to 7 numbers of another seed, the voting's really close.
I would imagine that in inside of those within 10, so like 10
right.
to 10 to 20 to
right.
30, it's obviously a very, very close on the nominations.
Right. So Big Jim, the Venice Beach Regional, what matchup intrigues you?
I'm gonna say NWO and Shane McMahon, because those are two themes that are so strong. I mean, like, the NWO speaks for itself, but in the same time, like, I remember when Shane McMahon came back and like you hear that music again, it was a huge pop. So I'm really, really intrigued by that matchup.
Yep. Matt, what say you?
I think it's gonna be between Graveyard Symphony, NWO Wolfpack, and then the Batista Aleister Black one.
That's such a strong matchup too.
I hate it. Like, if I ever had the idea to move people's brackets around,
this would be the one.
I would have made sure this wasn't a first round matchup. It is so tough. It kills me that one of these themes is done after the first round. Kills me.
I mean, Batista's is one of those themes because, like, when he was back, like when he was there around WrestleMania 30, every time he's come back, like days after he's on Raw or SmackDown or pay-per-view or whatever, I will still be playing that theme in my head.
Yes,
like it's that strong of a theme. But I
love Ryan is shaking his head, but I have on good authority that he put the Batista theme on his list of themes. So
that's not why I'm shaking my head. The
okay.
Batista theme absolutely belongs there, but the fix is in. If you went from number 1 to the bottom, there's no way my boys Chronic have to fight for a goddamn playing spot for this ridiculous. The fix is in. There's no way Chronic should be that low. That's my pick. Chronic is taking out Real American Brother. It's gonna happen. Chronic wins and wipes the floor with Hulk Hogan. Don't forget, Hogan's a racist. Can't vote for Hogan. Don't forget. You're goddamn right, I'm playing the card. Don't vote for Hogan. Vote Chronic 2020. Please vote. Make sure you get your votes out, folks.
Are you taking illegal substances again?
Ryan, I listened to that song yesterday for the first time, and it was absolute garbage. Like, why are you so high on this one? Of all songs,
you're ridiculous. You're out of line. I'll quit the podcast if it doesn't at least make it. I swear to God, it's ridiculous. There's no reason it shouldn't be up there.
I love it.
It's a clear ripoff of Static X. Act like nobody cares for Static X in here. Russ Vitale would vote for this.
No, he wouldn't. I don't even think you would get Russ Vitale's vote.
It absolutely would. It totally would.
Way out of line.
Maybe over the Rockers, but I don't know about Real American.
Yeah, come on.
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And how did the Horsemen fall to 46? Just people don't know how great that theme is.
I guess not. I mean, I didn't have it on my list, and my list was 38 themes.
Man, so good.
I had it on my list too. So the Horseman theme got some love. So
yeah, thank you.
Lou's with you, Ryan. He says Chronic is a great theme.
Goddamn right, Lou. I knew I liked it for a reason.
Bro.
all right. So the final region, the St. Louis Regional, which means it is the Randy Orton bracket.
Oh, here we go.
And here it is. There is your final 8 matchups. So we've got Voices taking on the winner of Brock Lesnar versus the Undisputed Era. We've then got Ethan Carter III, his TNA theme, going against John Cena's first theme, Basic Thugonomics. Well, technically a second theme, but this is Basic Thugonomics version. In a Jimmy Hart classic, it is the Ted DiBiase theme taking on Demolition. We've got Shinsuke Nakamura's theme, The Rising Sun, taking on I'm the Mountie. In the next lineup, we've got Sexy Boy taking on Jive Soul Bro.
Okay.
In a bit of new school versus old school, Kingdom, the Cody theme, taking on Jake Roberts' Snake Bit. We've got Fight, the Kevin Owens theme, taking on the Legion of Doom theme.
Damn.
And the number 5 seed, Cult of Personality, will be taking on the winner of... Oh, sorry. So for Voices will be the winner of Kane versus... it'll be Kane versus the Hardy Boys. And the winner of Cult, going against Cult of Personality, will be Brock Lesnar or the Undisputed Era.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, Ryan, the St. Louis Regional, what matchup intrigues you?
First of all, I'm reeling that Zack Ryder's radio didn't make this at all. I know Jim's really upset about that too. That just
heartbroken.
It's a personal surprise that didn't make it.
It was actually the first 3 on my list. So
radio. There's so many good matchups here. It's really, really tough to pick one. But I will go with the same band that did Zack Ryder's radio. I'll go Kingdom versus Jake the Snake Roberts, just because old school, new school. I kind of like that setup. Even though I'm a big Mountie fan, that's gonna be a tough one for me to vote for.
Time out. Sidebar real quick. Can we talk like Jake the Snake Roberts wearing a polo shirt is one of the weirdest things in 2020.
You mean
and that says a lot.
You mean Rehab Jake?
Yeah. Like whoever the manager for Lance Archer is, that guy wearing a polo shirt is one of the weirdest things in wrestling in 2020.
He does
I
yoga.
Stand by that.
He does yoga.
I'm aware he does yoga and he's moved out of the DDP house, and I wish him nothing but the best. But Jake the fucking Snake Roberts wearing a purple polo shirt on Fyter Fest is just I don't know. I can't. It was weird. But I digress.
Yes. Matt.
I mean, I think all of these are pretty one-sided for me. So for the most intriguing is I'm going to hope that the Hardy Boys can pull it out and take on Voices, because I mean, I know which way I would vote in that. I'm really surprised that I had to use my veto vote to get the Hardy Boys in there, but so that's going to be the one that I'm watching the most.
Okay. Big Jim.
The one I'm watching the most, man, is EC3 and John Cena, because like to me this one should be one-sided. if you're asking the big guy, this one should be one-sided, but like the basic Thugonomics theme is so good that that this one really is going to have my attention once it goes live.
Yep. I'm very excited to see that matchup, as well as whoever, which if it's Brock or Undisputed Era against CM Punk and Cult of Personality, like I know Cult of Personality is really strong, but both of those other themes fighting for the 60th seed it's almost a murderer's row. So it's very tough to say one way or the other how these will all go. But once the playoff round voting has commenced, it's finalized, we will go live with a similar style survey for the first round, where we will also release, we can probably release the playlist early if we so choose, but voting will not take place for the round of 64 until after the play-ins are done. Big Jim, how long do you think we should give these play-ins?
Do you want to give it through the weekend, or do we want to go like a week?
I think if we can go through the weekend. We will announce the winners on Monday during Raw, and we will also release the first round of the tournament Monday on Raw for a Thursday night reveal for the podcast.
Okay, I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
So we'll announce winners on Thursdays.
Yes.
Yeah. And go from
I like
there.
that a lot. So again, tinyurl.com/3CT play-in to get your votes in for the opening round matchup. And again, if you go to the comments on the live video for this podcast, you will see the playlist for the play-in round. So you can review all of the themes for those 5 play-in matchups. And then we'll post everything to our social medias as well. So make sure you're following us on there. 3 Count Thursday, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Not tinydancer.com. That probably takes you to a whole different world there, RSGP, but tinyurl.com/3CT play-in is it. But man, I'm excited. This is probably one of the best ideas we've ever had to actually put this whole thing together. I'm looking for it. I've already been like spitballing different ideas of brackets we can do in the future. Because like if you're paying attention to the world at large, there may or may not really be much sports even through this fall and winter. So we may have to keep your betting and things like that alive here through 3 Count Thursday. And we're willing to do that. So there's some bracket ideas, like best gimmicks of the 90s, is one of them that's spinning through my head, because the Lord knows there was just gimmicks upon gimmicks upon gimmicks, especially in the first half of that decade. So I'll look at you, Ryan. That's just weak sauce, man. That is so bad.
Look how badass they look. They're vascular.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this bracket and to see which theme will come out on top as the greatest of all time.
That's correct. Tiny Dancer /URL TLC TRL Total Request Live. Vote now.
There you go. Perfect. Any other thoughts on the bracket? Now, is there a theme? Do we want to give any predictions on which one we think might win it all?
Chronic.
Or is that like insider trading? We don't want to influence any votes anywhere.
Yeah, I don't necessarily want to influence any votes. I kind of want to. I do have a couple that I'm voting, or I'm holding close to my close to the vest. but I think it's really hard to vote against one of the top 5 seeds, like between Voices, Cult of Personality, the Stone Cold Theme, Real American, or Metalingus. Like, if one of those 5 don't make it, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean that would be a huge upset. If in the comments here, if anybody wants to leave what they think is the best theme of all time, which one do they think or should win? We won't give ours. We don't want to necessarily influence anywhere. Besides Ryan,
I will say, I don't think our number 1 pick wins this. I'm pretty confident that as great as the theme Metalingus is, I do not think that will win it all.
So you think the number 1 seed will get?
I will say that, yes.
Somewhere.
We'll get eliminated somewhere, yes.
Okay, so I'll ask this. Which of the top 4 seeds gets eliminated first?
Okay, so the top 4 are Metalingus, Stone Cold,
Hulk Hogan, and Randy Orton.
I think I'll say probably Randy Orton. Just because I think the history with Austin's theme and Hogan's theme is there. And Metalingus, that through all of the voting, our voting, the listener submissions, after all of those were compiled, I mean, it was hundreds of themes, right, Tim?
Right.
Like, Metalingus was number 1. So just kind of by default, and not because it's, it was the lowest of those 4, but I think Randy Orton's would get supplanted first.
I mean, we got a comment that says, I just can't vote for a theme that was a song and used as a theme. I mean, that's what themes used to be. I mean, if you go back in time, like the very first theme or one of the first themes of all time was Sergeant Slaughter using the Marine Corps song.
Right.
So that's a real
song. Is that what
song.
It's officially called? The Marine Corps?
The Marine Corps I don't know what it's called. It's the Hymn of the Marines or something like that. Not taps.
Jesus.
No, but it's the Marine the song for the Marines. What is the name of that song?
Matt,
something about the Green Berets, right?
No.
Matt, which one of the top seeds do you think will get eliminated first?
I also think Voices goes out first, just because I'm actually kind of surprised Voices was in the top 4/5, honestly. Not just because it wasn't on my list, but it's because I think there were others that I thought would be higher than that, like Chronic, for instance.
I mean, like I said, it surprised me that Metalingus was number 1. Not that it's not a fantastic theme, but
well, I think there's recency bias with Metalingus. I mean,
possibly
when that music hit at the Rumble, who didn't get goosebumps with that? And I think
Tim was crying. We were there. I seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
And I'm not judging you. I've cried. Believe me, I've cried at wrestling before too.
I cry all the time.
Ryan,
it's not a feat to get me to cry.
Ryan, which one out of the top 4 seeds do you think will lose first?
I really think Chronic can knock off Real American in the apps. I absolutely think it can happen. You guys think I'm joking, but vote Chronic in and it's going to happen. I tell you, it's going to happen. The people will hear Brian Clark and Brian Adams need to run wild all over Hulkamania.
Message Russ right now and see if he would even listen to that song. Just
Who?
Huh?
Who?
Russ.
Of course he would. It's literally a ripoff of Static X. Absolutely would listen to it.
Tim, is there which one do you think will get eliminated first?
I think if there's a chance, I think that Metalingus could be the first one down.
Ooh. Wow.
Because I think that if depending on what song wins the play-in matchup, that could really decide it.
Well, that's true too, because that's going to be an interesting one for the play-in. So Tyler in the comments here says to him the game Triple H is the best theme of all time. He also says SWO returns on August 15th to Red Lion, PA, after not being able to do shows since March the 13th. I think there's ACW runs next weekend, so I have to start digging into the independent scene and re-uploading some shows to our indie calendar, because shows are beginning to resume, obviously reduced capacity and things like that, but yeah, the independent scene is slowly but surely starting to pick back up. It's
going to be Atomic's first show at the Orioles Nest in Newmanstown. That is next Saturday night. It's going to be a great show. Reduced capacity, masks required, hand sanitizing stations throughout. A lot of precautions are going to be taken. Great lineup they have so far. I believe the Sandman and Veda Scott will be special guests that night as well. I'll have the full card, obviously, next Thursday before the show.
You'll be back on the call for that, Ryan?
I sure am. Me and my trusty mask.
There you go. Awesome. Good stuff. Any other thoughts when it comes to the bracket, or do we want to continue on here?
Look, here's the deal. If you guys aren't sure, I'll drop you $1 in your PayPal to vote for Chronic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's going to happen. He's going to take down. It's going to happen. It's going to take down the Rockers, and he's going to take down Hulk Hogan. What's the studs these guys are?
Print out that picture? Like, you wasted computer ink printing that out?
I didn't print that out today. I've had that for a while.
But it was printed out, right? Like, it's not signed 8x10 or anything, is it?
Oh, that's not a signed 8x10. And I printed it out.
No, because they're both dead.
Oh,
they're not both dead.
I printed this out during the podcast. I did.
Which, right. Who's who? Which is which?
Oh, that's easy. That's Brian Clark, Brian Adams.
Okay, so it's
Adam Bomb, whatever you want to call him.
Adam Bomb and Crush.
Adam Bomb and Crush, right?
All right, let's move on here.
Chronic, man, it's unreal.
We did.
The rich man's APA right there.
Jesus, wow, you are stretching it thin there, dude. Stretching it thin.
I think you might have just lost votes with that.
Yeah, that's that. There's been a lot of bad takes on this show, and
nobody likes JBL either. Screw you. I'm fine.
Well, yeah, I mean that's
how
true.
How many JBL teams are on this list?
0.
The APA did get a vote though.
I
voted for him.
I would have, if I would have voted a JBL theme though, it would have been the JBL theme, not the APA.
Longhorn's not
Bradshaw theme.
Yeah. Did he even have a theme? I just assume it was like whips and guns and like guitar twangy music. Nikki says she used to love Adam Bomb. And Devin back with us again. If you're following along in the live video, give it a like, give it a share.
I'll take the Adam Bomb support too. Hell yes, Nikki.
Jesus Christ, Ryan. All right, let's move on. We did have the 3 count question of the week, and there was somebody I was discussing with, or I saw this discussion on Twitter. I think Monday during Raw, and it had to do like right now. I think it was bringing up, is somebody going to turn heel at some point? And I just kind of like started spinning in my head. Like right now, like I get the character portrayed, because in any TV show, obviously that, if there's not a live audience, or a movie where there's not a live audience, you have good guys and you have bad guys. But right now, obviously with the empty arena era, or the workers as fans era, whatever exactly we're calling this period of time, there are obviously heels and faces, like, but are they the question I asked was, without fans in the audience, do heels and faces matter at all or as much? So it's kind of however you want to answer it. And to me, like, I don't know that they necessarily matter as much. And I mean, I know in the WWE, it's kind of been shades of gray, as Vince in the historic promo years ago put it out there anyway, that they kind of present characters to you. You kind of decide which way it goes, which depends on the live audience, because for years, obviously, Roman Reigns John Cena, their characters were good guys, but they were booed. So and I know even like Triple H had said in interviews that Roman Reigns right now is kind of, in a way, the biggest heel in the company because everybody boos him. And if you flip that switch, and we had talked about it here, that a lot of people would end up cheering him as the bad guy. So like right now, do heels and faces in the traditional sense of the word matter? Or is it just they're gonna present us storylines and characters and we just kind of follow along with the story? To me, I think it's more we just kind of follow along with the story. I don't know that traditional heel versus face is as important right now and in this era. Matt, your thoughts?
I mean, it's probably not as important, sure, but it certainly still matters. So, like you can't just have two people just going in and wrestling with no storyline, and there always sort of has to be some sort of villain just to get the fans invested even on the TV. So just because you're not getting that crowd reaction, you still definitely need that for the advancement of the storyline. So yeah, not as important, but still important.
All right, Ryan.
Yeah, I think it is absolutely important. I think it doesn't dictate how wrestling's presented anymore, and it can go on more of a match by match level. Using AEW as an example, you have a faction like the Dark Order. Those are obviously their heels, obviously. Then you have Cody Rhodes, who is, I guess you would consider one of the babiest baby faces available. But with his open challenge, he's not necessarily always wrestling heels in those style matches. Next week, Sonny Kiss. So more of a baby face versus like a baby, you know what I mean? So it's match by match. And I think that's okay. I think that's probably the best way to do it, that you can allow some people to stand on their own. And I'm sure there's people out there that don't like Cody Rhodes and is going to boo him. The Booker giving himself the championship, no different than Roman Reigns getting booed as a baby face. But yeah. So yeah, I think it's necessary. You still do have to have good versus evil. Ultimately, I think that's why we tune in. Plus all the other pomp and circumstance. But yeah, it's necessary.
All right, Tim, your thoughts?
I think that baby faces and heels matter more now than they did before we had quarantine, for the simple fact that right now WWE and AEW can reset expectations of the fans through programming of the crowd themselves. Having fans cheer, having the workers cheer the good guys and boo the heels puts like a stronger impetus on like who to actually vote for once we all get back to normal. I think there's a lot of hard resetting of expectations in this era of wrestling right now. The asterisk, the period over the I in Jeremy Bearman.
Yeah. Like Nikki says here, John Cena could never really be a heel because of the Make-A-Wish. Too many kids love him. She said she's still confused why fans turned on Roman. He gave everything in both victory and defeat. And I think it was just kind of the thing of when the WWE tells us, hey, you guys are the authority, or they take the fans into consideration. People didn't want the Rocky Maivia of this generation like shoved in our throats, and it was kind of the current incarnation of Rocky sucks was to boo Roman. A couple of responses from social media. Zach on Twitter had said, yeah, because a show without conflict is boring. Heels need to be just need to compensate a lack of reactions with ferocity, which is an interesting take as well. You almost have to make them more vicious to get people to dig into that. Nick says they matter if it's done right. You need to tell the story and show everything on screen. John says you need a reason to watch. They are that reason. So again, thank you to everybody who had responded on our social media post there for the question of the week. And yeah, I mean I like how there's different stories, you know, being portrayed, and it's not necessarily as traditional as possible. But I think, Tim, you did bring up a great point in how when you have, you know, your own, you know, your own people as the crowd, you can dictate things better than somebody trying to hijack a show, so to speak. All right, next thing here, of course, 2 days ago, I think it was 2 days ago, yeah, on Tuesday was the 24th anniversary of Hulk Hogan dropping that leg at Bash at the Beach.
What is he doing? God, is he the third man? He's the third man. What the hell is going on here? Hulk Hogan has betrayed WCW. He is the third man.
And of course forming the NWO, and you know, like I've said like numerous times, this is one of the few, and I think this was probably the first WCW pay-per-views that I ever had my family ordered. My birthday fell around the same time, and that's what I wanted for my birthday that year, because I was so very intrigued by, you know, what was going to happen, because, you know, we knew there was going to be, you know, Hall and Nash had kind of hinted that, you know, that the third man's going to be there. Who's it going to be? What's going to happen? And you know, obviously with Hulk Hogan turning heel, something that I don't think we ever could have seen. I mean, you had, you know, the great promo, and there's so many great, and I grabbed a couple of them from the aftermath when Hogan's talking to Mean Gene.
Mean Gene, the first thing you need to do is to tell these people to shut up if you want to hear what I gotta say.
And of course, the one we've heard, you know, time and time again, anytime there's any documentary or anything about the NWO.
You can call this the New World Order of Wrestling, brother.
Which, of course, then later in the promo, Hogan's that line, because he calls it the New World Organization, I believe, like numerous times in that. But then a couple more here.
As far as I'm concerned, all of this crap in the ring represents these fans out here.
And then my favorite one that we'll probably say on the soundboard.
You fans can stick it, brother.
Like, and I remember just sitting there watching this going, like, what happened? And it's probably, you know, like the heel turn that, you know, if you look over all time, that's probably the biggest one that you thought would never happen. Like, is there one anybody else can think of that you would have thought that would have been more shocking than Hogan becoming a bad guy? Jesus, Ryan.
Yeah, there's nothing really off the top of my head of like what Hulk Hogan means or meant to wrestling fans. There's just never going to be anyone close that measures up to the kind of pulling power one way or the other.
Yeah, it's like Hogan was the forever baby face, and the one thing that kind of came into my mind is like, where does, and I know the NWO obviously got bastardized beyond comprehension between, you know, the red and white, or the red and black, and the black and white, and then just, you know, how many members can we get into the ring as a member of the NWO? But when I'm talking about the original three, and obviously it started with Hall and Nash showing up, and you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here, and they're talking about, you know, the bullying of Eric Bischoff and everybody around WCW. This original three like where to you does the original three, Hogan, Hall, and Nash, as a New World Order, where do you put them? You know, I know we talked about Mount Rushmore last week, but like where do you kind of rank them, like all time, like faction wise?
You've gotta put that near the top. I think a lot of people think great factions. They think of DX and the NWO. That's like the two that my mind goes to. And each one have had different, versions of it. No different than like the Four Horsemen, and then how Mongo was a Four Horseman, for Christ's sake. So that's changed. But yeah, that's got to be up there. It's got to be top 2 or top 3 for sure.
Matt, how about you?
Yeah, I mean NWO is certainly up there. I would say probably 2 for me, behind DX. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but maybe Heart Foundation sneaks in. And I was, the whole time you were telling that story, Jim, I was picturing you in a birthday hat watching this heel turn, just like, what's happening?
What is going on? Just sitting in my living room by myself.
I told you I didn't want to watch this WCW show. By the way, happy 21st, Jim. I think you just celebrated your birthday not too long ago. Yeah. So back to 21, you can legally drink and
on Monday
go out to the bar. Here.
Well, eventually, yeah. Maybe in 2021, I'll go to a bar again.
Let's hope and wish.
Tim, where do you put the NWO all time?
I'm gonna put the NWO at 3.
Okay.
Behind the Shield and Evolution.
Wow. Those are 2 that I wouldn't have in my above. But yeah. Nikki says they're in her top 5. She would put Nexus above them. Don't judge me, she said.
Nexus is really good. The only reason why I don't have the Nexus over them is the Nexus as a group was not successful. The Shield as a group was unstoppable. Could not beat them. Evolution, the whole purpose of Evolution, actually, you know what? NWO is 4. The New Day is 3. The New Day is 3. Because it's all about success of the group. So Evolution's whole point was for everyone to be champion and to insulate Triple H as world champion. And that's what they did. At one point in time, they were the tag team, intercontinental, and world heavyweight champion. New Day, same reason. They're just the continuity, the success of them as a singles, getting Kofi Mania to where it is. The NWO was prime at the beginning. And then as you added your VK Wall Streets and everything, you just can't, it kind of just loses its sizzle.
And yeah, and I guess there is something to be said for that, because, even DX, had multiple iterations of it, the original, and then, you had the 5 of them. And then in later years, you just had Triple H and Shawn Michaels. And then, of course, in Saudi Arabia, you had bald Triple H and bald Shawn Michaels.
Don't you dare discount the Hornswoggle years.
Oh, I wouldn't dare. But yeah, when any of these groups, and I think maybe that's why to some the Horsemen doesn't make it up there, because again, you had the Mongo years with the 4 Horsemen. So
Mongo isn't even the worst Horseman.
Who is?
Mongo's a one-time U.S. champion with the Horsemen.
Mongo is probably one of the more Horseman-esque horsemen that ever horsemaned. The worst.
Your least? Is it Lex Luger?
It's Paul Roma.
Oh, that's fair.
I honestly didn't even remember that Paul Roma was in the Horsemen.
He was a
So-
tag team champion with the Horsemen, though.
I don't care.
Everybody carried championships. You're a WCW guy, Tim. Where do you put
Yes.
the Horsemen then?
Horseman's 5.
Horsemen's
Okay.
5, okay.
Let's see. Devin says he would put NWO in his top 10, but barely in the top 10. And Nikki asks, what about the Bullet Club? For me, like, I mean, the Bullet Club obviously has had, you know, strength for years, but you know, New Japan isn't my cup of tea. So I don't have them very high on my list. Yeah, except
You
for
can make that argument. I totally get that. I mean, I think they belong on a list, probably top 10. I don't know where I would do a top 10.
Right behind the corporate ministry.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised
Everybody
none of
seemed to
you-
be. We were all really high
none
on the
of you
Nexus.
dickheads even said corporate ministry when Shane McMahon's in it, since you all shine his boots on this show on a weekly basis, but we don't want to just point out the one faction that he was in. Mean Street Posse, by all means, put that one in too.
Hey,
Amen.
Pete Gas, former guest of the show.
That's true.
I'd be high on that. So we all seem pretty high on the Nexus. How low on that list does the core drop?
The core does not exist.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
low.
I don't think they even count. I think they, as your shirt in the background says, Ryan, not best for business. Just not best for business.
I mean, realistically, neither is this shirt. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Oh yeah,
I
that's
was wondering that earlier.
Yeah,
it's the once in a lifetime, the Onita Tremont match, which I thought was really, really good. I got that pay-per-view, so I really dug the match. But yeah,
So
to
the
kind of ignore
last-
that, I'll put a.
The
No,
last cool thing that CZW did.
like
It absolutely is.
let's be fair. You bought that before we found out just how shitty of a company they are, right? Like
That's yeah.
like
That
you didn't go
I
out,
agree with.
you didn't go out and buy that like this week or
Why
anything.
do you just have painter's tape?
Yeah, it
Nice.
seems like
When I dressed up like the Blue Meanie for Halloween, with my wrist tape,
nice.
and I knew I kept it local, so.
Okay, Devin says he said the NWO is a top 5, not top 10. And Nikki asks, do you think there could be a great women's faction? I think there could be.
The Iconics we'll just add one more broad and you're there.
Broad, good word choice. Yeah,
Not bad.
I think there certainly could be. I think it would all depend on, you know, having to get the women's rosters deeper on all shows. Because I think that's probably the biggest thing that's keeping them from having a women's faction like in the WWE right now, because I don't think any of the women's divisions are necessarily deep enough to have a faction or multiple factions, because I feel like
We had Team Bad.
yeah, yes they were. I feel like I think sometimes the best factions, like the best time in history is when factions were going against each other.
I don't agree with that Team Bad comment at all.
What,
I just said we had it. That wasn't
I
a comment.
love Team Bad.
I was not a fan of Team Bad.
Oh,
Look, if you replace Tamina with Alicia Fox, it's much better.
but Tamina played the role of Sheezel. Before Raquel Gonzalez was the big girl protecting the little girls, it was Tamina protecting Sasha and Naomi.
I mean, I didn't dislike Team Bad either. I just think I would have enjoyed it more had we had someone more in line with the other two as opposed to Tamina.
I get it. Yeah, I get
Just
it.
kind of like.
What's your favorite match?
My favorite match was with Melina and Alicia Fox.
Exactly.
Who?
Yeah, I mean, like, but
Yeah,
again,
you gotta, and I want you to take that segment and just cut it down to the Who, So that way, whenever somebody says anything from like New Japan or Ring of Honor, you can just hit the who.
That's what I got.
Who the hell is this?
Oh, you have? Wow, never mind then.
But again, I think like if you have factions going against each other, I mean, like, you know, you think of like DX and the Nation of Domination, the corporation versus the ministry, things like that. So, you know, if you would be able to have the women's rosters deep enough that you could have multiple factions or at least multiple credible teams, that a faction could go, you know, kind of target a tag team to challenge, things like that. I think that's where you would get a little bit more depth into it and really turn into a great female faction. But I think it's absolutely possible. Absolutely possible. Which I saw earlier today, and I did post it on the social media, that potentially like the weekend after SummerSlam, the WWE looking at maybe another network special, possibly Hall of Fame, which we talked about last week, possibly a second week of SummerSlam, which I think if you're going to do multiple nights of SummerSlam, you do it Saturday, Sunday, like you did WrestleMania. You don't go week to week. But also potentially a Evolution, too. I think you'd be much. I would be much more in favor of either Hall of Fame or Evolution 2 over week 2 of SummerSlam. Like, but we'll kind of keep our eyes on that one as well.
Yeah, I think you got to keep SummerSlam together on a Saturday, Sunday if it needs to be 2 nights. You don't have to drag it out over 2 weeks. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's different obviously when with the NXT doing the Bash and fight, you know, Fighter Fest with AEW, like that's a different story because you're just, you know, you're jazzing up your weekly TV, which you know, I have no problems there, going multiple weeks on that. Real quick, we're not going to go over the shows, but if you watch them, did you prefer Great American Bash or Fighter Fest over the other one? I mean, to me they were both really good. The unfortunate thing is I had switched over last night. I'd switched over from Dynamite. I was watching Dynamite as it aired, but I switched over to NXT for the main event. The main event of Fighter Fest ran over, and my DVR cut it off. So I didn't even see the end of Jericho and Orange Cassidy, which I was loving that match. So I'm gonna have to wait. Hopefully that gets posted online somewhere. Charlie says Great American Bash by hair. Overall, I think Great American Bash was better as a wrestling pay-per-view, so to speak. Both shows were really strong though.
I really enjoyed week 1 of Fighter Fest more than week 1 of Great American Bash. I think Bash really pulled it out at the end. That Adam Cole match was, fantastic. Keith Lee, absolutely his time to shine. What a star they have in him. Like you, Jim, I watched much of Fighter Fest live. I was flipping back and forth. For the first time, it really felt like it was the Monday Night Wars for me between WCW and WWE, because I was doing a lot of flipping back and forth, and I don't know. It's just great when one can challenge the other, and we get great programming from both companies. It's cliche to say, but you know, the fans were the winners.
No, AEW won because they won the demo.
Let's talk demographics.
Tony and Jericho and company told me about that all afternoon on Twitter. All right, let's move on here. This week, PWI, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, announced some changes to their criteria for the PWI 500 this year. They announced that going forward, they will integrate women's wrestlers into the PWI 500. This is partially taken from the full release. Effective this year, the PWI 500 will include wrestlers who, regardless of gender, best fit our usual criteria: win-loss record, technical ability, influence on the sport, success against the highest grade of competition, success against the most diverse competition, and activity. This year's PWI 500 will include wrestlers who excel who excelled against opponents of any gender or who held traditionally male or gender neutral championships. For the first time, multiple women will be included on the list. Frankly, this is long overdue. Women who compete exclusively or almost exclusively in women's divisions / promotions won't be ranked in this year's 500. However, they will be eligible for the women's 100 list. We acknowledge this is an imperfect system, but it seems to us to be the most equitable approach for now. Bailey, Sasha Banks, and Asuka will likely be ranked near the top of this year's women's 100. Could they one day be ranked as high in the PWI 500? They very well could. Wrestling is evolving, and PWI will evolve as well. Bottom line, we are moving in the direction of a PWI 500 that is truly gender inclusive. For now, we want to ensure that everyone has a chance to be acknowledged for their accomplishments. We feel that opening up the list in this way is a step in the right direction, unless you're the Boar. Man, I've had a lot of interest watching the Boar, our friend the Boar, and PWI go back and forth on Twitter this week.
Yeah, and I'm gonna champion for him.
Absolutely. I think he makes very valid points.
Right, and so for those of you who don't know, you can follow him at Boar is War on Twitter. Independent wrestling star, the Boar of Moldova. But he is he's kind of a unicorn nowadays in wrestling. He is legit 6'4", legit 260 plus pounds.
He's a real big dude.
He's a big man. Like, he's big.
He's big dude.
And yeah, he's a hoss. And if you look around wrestling nowadays, like, Boar is closer to a Keith Lee size than he is an Adam Cole size. And he's bigger than like everyone you just watched on Fyter Fest. So the first two things that the PWI top 500 is taking account in is win-loss record in a sport in which winners and losers are determined not inside the right, and technical prowess.
Yeah, technical ability.
Everyone can chain wrestle, and everyone can do triple Spanish flies and whatever. So you're encouraging people to go out and wrestle 45-minute mat classics to draws because you can't lose because it's going to impact your win-loss. It's
well, that's assuming you're in a company that has time limits.
Thank you.
I don't know, the biggest wrestling company in the world. When was the last time you heard any match on Raw or SmackDown or WWE pay-per-view list a time limit on the match?
Probably the last Iron Woman match.
Yeah. It's been a while.
It's been a grip. But either way, like, it's the PWI 500 is something that's really fun to look at. But I don't think that it is now or probably ever was a legitimate ranking of the best superstars or the best wrestlers in the world. Because if that's the case, like, WWE doesn't hire bad wrestlers.
Right.
Like,
well, they don't hire wrestlers. They hire sports entertainers.
Yeah, like, they don't hire bad dudes. Like, they hire,
unless it's the PSEI top 500,
the sports entertainment wrestling, whatever. Like, it's just funny to me that, like, we're still talking about the PWI 500. And, like, I'm sure that the 500 wrestlers or whenever a wrestler makes the PWI 500 their first time, they're stoked.
Sure.
But I guarantee you that if a wrestler gets put on the 500 and they're at like 480 something, and they see a dude who they shared a locker room with at an indie that's at like 370, and they're like, I'm better than that guy. I wonder why the dude at 370 is 370 and you're at 480. Is it activity?
Right. Like,
is it influence on the sport?
Right. And
like,
and I mean,
what is it? Like, it's so arbitrary. There's no, it's not like the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame where there's actual writers who are judging and people get put in, and then like their peers, like other people who have been on the ballot, like it is a novelty. It's about as serious as the 3 Count Thursday greatest wrestling theme of all time.
Whoa. You watch your mouth.
You. Amen.
We think it's great. We love it. And you guys love it. And there's a bunch of wrestlers, a bunch of fans that think the PWI 500 is the Bible. And then there's other people who are like, okay, you're selling copies of a magazine.
And like, here's the thing. Like, we've had obviously former guests of our show that have made the list, and, you know, they couldn't be happier that they ended up, 315 on the list, which is incredible. Like, you know, for everybody, you know, that, you know, bust their ass and, you know, goes in the gym and goes to training and, you know, works on the weekend and drives from, you know, New York to Pennsylvania or Maryland almost every weekend, you know, to put on these shows with some of the better indie companies on the East Coast. Absolutely. Like, I don't want it to come across that we are downplaying, you know, something that is super important to them, because, you know, if you know, we've been nominated in different years for different podcast awards online. Of course, we had the one with Andy Weinberg where we were Podcast of the Year in 2017. But there was other times where, you know, we got nominated for things and we didn't win them. But in the same time, like, yes, Tim.
I have a actual legitimate question.
Yes.
So this is the PWI 500 for the year 2020, right?
Yeah.
Over or under 500 active wrestlers in the year 2020, with everything that's going
Definitely
on
under
in the entire world, because this is a worldwide thing. Japanese wrestlers, the luchadors, everyone. Is there 500 active wrestlers who will have wrestled at least one match
Yes,
in
absolutely.
2020?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Scotty Jeffrey, he's gonna make it Fools. Woo!
Like, we took 3 months off, and but if depending on how things bubble or not, we could lose like another 2.
I mean,
so
if one of the criteria is influence on the sport, there's a lot of talent that stand behind plexiglass at the Performance Center every Monday, Wednesday, Friday that cheer and bang on the glass. That's influencing the sport. So
does WWE's WrestleMania's #1 fan make the PWI 500?
It fucking better. It had a shirt on the WWE shop.
The ceiling fan at the Performance Center.
Yeah, but yeah, it's that's an interesting question as well. Like the 2020 PWI 500 is going to be a very interesting list to see when it finally does come out. And I don't like, and because obviously if you're revising the criteria, and maybe that's part of the reason that they revised the criteria
to include women,
because maybe they're sitting there going,
they're
guys,
hedging
we're
their
gonna have
bets.
trouble filling this list. And obviously some indies are starting to pick back up. Yeah. So, you know, you can probably find 500, but
yeah,
it's
it's tough though. And
it is going to be tough.
It's not, I don't know. Like it's really poopy, man. Like it's a real crappy time right now still.
Yes.
It's a reminder, like actually sitting and thinking about a PWI 500. Like now I'm like, well, yeah, there's all those indies that I'm not going to, or all those indies I'm not doing commentary for. And, you know,
it blows.
Yeah. And you were gonna debut as the commissioner. You were gonna commission your first Fed, and
my first company. We had to postpone the show, and it sucks, man. It sucks. It's been obviously for numerous reasons beyond independent wrestling, it has been a crappy year. But that's another part of it as well.
Just the icing on a real dirt cake.
Sitting here tonight, who do you guys think the number one wrestler in the 2020 PWI 500 will be then?
Wow.
Drew McIntyre.
I'm like
John Moxley.
Okay.
Because he's a technical wrestler and he grapples, but he's versatile. And
I'm going to give it to a guy that just lost his world championship last night, Adam Cole.
Okay.
Old
Bay
from Maryland, right?
Old Bay from Maryland, from the.
You want to know who I think makes top 10?
Who's that?
Roman Reigns.
Because he
influence,
he was the smart one.
Influence on the sport. He
worked the start of the year
for right or wrong. Like this year is going to be notably absent of Roman Reigns.
Sure.
Like I don't think there's ever been a bigger hole in a time period. Like this might be the biggest hole we've seen since like that one weird time where Austin took his ball and went home, but The Rock was also like doing movies at the same time. And they brought The Rock back. I'm not entertaining that flim flam from my fellow pundit who broke Big Jim.
He's broke.
By the way, she pooted.
But what I'm talking about.
Right. Like there's the hole that Roman has left in the WWE.
Gaping.
It is kind of unfillable. Except for Roman. Like
you're really talking about Sonny here.
I'm talking about the hole that Roman's leaving.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, like again, I've never been
a large man to fill that hole. Yeah.
I've never been the biggest Roman Reigns fan. I've never denied how good Roman Reigns is, but there has been multiple times in the and I'd say especially more in the last month or so, because the longer this goes on, the empty arena shows it's becoming normal. Like I've watched like Tuesday nights on FS1, they've been showing classic the pay-per-views, and like this past Tuesday was the 2017 Royal Rumble, and now watching old shows with gigantic stadiums filled with people feels weird to see that many people in a space together.
2017 Rumble, that was the Roman Rumble, right?
That was the Roman Rumble.
Okay.
But like just and I didn't watch much of the Rumble match, but that was Cena versus AJ Styles.
Mm-hmm.
Banger of a match. But like I'm sitting there watching it going like it feels so weird to now see large crowds of people and wrestling in that setting, because it has become normal to see WWE at the Performance Center with 11 people in the crowd, and for AEW to be at Daly's Place with the SCU and whoever is at ringside,
and Kip Sabian holding up a Twitch sign.
Yeah, so like it's like it has, everything has changed. Ryan, who do you see as the number one in PWI?
I think it is the steadfastness, if you will, of Seth Rollins that will have him repeat the 2020. I just think he has evolved his character a lot over the past 12 months.
I love this Rollins, by the way.
And I think it's a solid choice in a otherwise unknown, these trying times. Seth Rollins has got us through.
Like, I know, Tim, something on your other wrestling podcast, the Final Wrestling Place, a term that you refer to many times is height of their powers.
HOP, baby.
I feel like right now is Seth Rollins HOP. That may be a bold claim.
Tough. That's tough.
Like this Rollins is so fucking good to me.
The Rollins with the authority before he blew his knee out, where he was double champion and he fought Cena and Sting on the same night.
See me. I know that's Ryan's favorite, Seth Rollins.
Like that Seth Rollins is like almost untouchable. And then like the Seth Rollins we got where he like wins the Rumble and then goes on to WrestleMania. Like Seth has had multiple HOP-esque stints.
I know. This is at least the one I love the most. Lou and Devin both say Drew will be number one this year. And I think Nikki says Seth will be number one. She loves Seth.
If Otis doesn't make the top 25, the whole list is a sham.
It's a sham. It's a sham.
Oh,
That's a farce.
We have our top suspect, tomato chips.
We might as well hit the rest of them.
I feel like tomato champs is what he calls everybody in AEW.
Tomato chips.
Tomato champs.
Absolutely. I agree.
Brian Cage, the tomato champion. He's got that tomato FTW championship.
Tomato chips.
Cody Rhodes is that tomato championship.
That is definitely the
tomato chips.
Okay, let's talk about championships though. Okay, because the TNT title apparently couldn't get gold plated.
I hate it.
During the pandemic. However, the WWE rolls out a brand new U.S. title during the unless they have different guys doing these things. But the WWE got a full title done with gold and everything, and AEW apparently could only find a guy to do one in silver. But
time
thoughts on
oh yes,
the new U.S. title. I love it. Now, I don't love it all time. Love it. Like the WCW one to me is still the number one U.S. title. I think this one is very, very much better than the most recent version. I've never been a huge fan of what I will call John Cena not spinner U.S. title, because that's the person I think of when I see the old U.S. title. I think of John Cena first, and of course he had the spinner one, which is all time terrible. But now, and I was sharing some of the pictures with the Boar on Twitter. I've seen some re-leathers of the most recent U.S. title where the strap itself matches the stars and bars on the plates, and it looked infinitely better. And I'm like, why did the WWE never do this? For one, but I like this new U.S. title. I think it is a decent mix of new and old. The only thing I would have done different that I've seen a couple people mock up is put some blue behind the stars at the top. Otherwise, I really do. I like the title. I think it's, it looks more like a championship than like a wrestling championship than some of their other main titles. It's not just a big WWE logo. But I like it.
Yeah, it's much better than what it is replacing. Like you said, it's not the WCW version. I think that's all time best United States Championship version of the belt. I like this 15 times more than I like the IC title remake, because that belt is still trash in my opinion. I just don't like it.
I couldn't even tell you who the Intercontinental Champion is right now.
Fair.
AJ Styles.
I don't know.
I lost. That title is done. Like the Intercontinental title, they've officially killed the Intercontinental title.
Is it Sami Zayn?
No, it was Sami Zayn.
It's AJ Styles currently.
Because AJ won the tournament after Sami Zayn had to strip it because of the Rona.
I mean,
He
but to
beat
be
Braun.
to be fair,
Braun beat.
To be fair, when was the last time Tim, Ryan, you guys watched
Nakamura?
SmackDown?
Oh, that's an excellent question.
Because that's where the Intercontinental title lives.
It does? Oh, God.
Please tell me you at least watched the match. The Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, the finals of the tournament.
I don't think so, Jim.
Hell no.
I don't think so, Tim.
I don't think so. I barely watched Fyter Fest. I watched Fyter Fest and the Great American Bash because I knew that I needed something else to talk about besides my hard work on this theme tournament.
That's fine.
That's it.
That's fine. I get it. It's a weird. This whole thing's weird. This whole time's weird.
I just want to wake up one day and we're in the new place.
Please do yourself a favor. And at some point, and Ryan, I will get to you. I will get to your question. At some point, please go and watch the finals of that IC title tournament.
No, stop it.
Go ahead, Ryan.
You're the goddamn host, Jim. You're the host. Set up a watch along. Make us watch it.
Perfect.
You're the host.
Okay.
You do that.
All right. Let's do that.
Yeah. You tell us the time. We'll have to be there because you're the host.
Right.
That's true. That's true.
He's the Lancaster host. Got it.
IC title watch along. Okay.
Bingo.
But that match is fantastic.
To answer your question, I absolutely hate this new United States Championship. It is bollocks. It looks like WWE made a replica of a title that you can make in a SmackDown versus Raw video game.
I won't necessarily disagree with that take.
There's nothing. It stands out because it's so generic. It's the 24/7 title.
Oh, come on. I wouldn't go that far.
The old US title was as close as we're gonna get to the original title, which is the best United States title of all time. The WCW United States Championship, hands down, best.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that.
But home plate isn't bad. I love home plate as a title.
It's not good.
It was the oldest WWF championship.
I know.
Of all the titles, that was the last one.
I know.
That one has been around since 2002.
It was before WrestleMania 20 because I know Cena won that one at WrestleMania 20.
Yeah, it's when they it's somewhere after the invasion, because Booker T was the US champion, and then Canyon somehow became the US champion, and then Canyon lost the title to, I think, like Edge or Eddie, and then they had a unification. And then they finally brought the US title back on SmackDown.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but either way, like this new title is...
One thing I will say with the new Intercontinental title, I saw somebody on Instagram, they had like repainted like on the side plates and in the center with some blue backing behind, and it looked infinitely better. Like, and I'm like, I don't necessarily love or hate the new Intercontinental title. It shouldn't have been redone from what it was. Like the classic IC title look is an all-time great title to me.
Can I tell you what else I hate about the new United States Championship?
Sure.
That the champion didn't even unveil it.
That was weird. I will agree with that.
Apollo Crews got the Rona or something, because he's not on TV until The horror show of Extreme Rules. Can you guys wake me up when my gimmicks don't need gimmicks?
Well, that's another thing that's so weird. Is like every match, it seems on the horror show of Extreme Rules, which we will preview and predict next week.
Sure.
Is getting a stipulation, which I'm not against stipulation matches. However, again, we've talked about this numerous times. It's Extreme Rules. Just the stipulation for every match should be that it's Extreme Rules. It's in the name of the pay-per-view. That's why I don't like the gimmick match name of the pay-per-view. TLC don't like it. Extreme Rules don't like it.
Yeah.
LNSL don't like it.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, if Seth Rollins don't get a whole ass eyeball ripped out of his head in this eye for an eye match.
Did you see his tweet the other day?
No, I don't even follow wrestling Twitter anymore, Jim.
His tweet the other day is it was like film study, and it showed the Vader picture where his eyes popped out.
But yeah, the whole idea that the loser of the match has to get their eye ripped out.
Yeah, weird.
What kind of
weird
Wes Craven-y, like
you can't even do a DQ with that stipulation because
if you can pull somebody's eye out, what else can you do?
Well, I mean,
you're gonna fist a dude in the butt and pull out his entrails. What are you gonna do? Like,
but that wouldn't even end the match.
Nope.
Matt, thumbs up.
That's the cutoff, brother.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. New U.S. title. Ooh, he does not like it.
Way out of line. Way out of line.
Devin agrees with you two. He says he does not like it. He also heard that there's new SmackDown tag titles on the way. I've heard that since about February. So sure, maybe if they're gonna redo the SmackDown ones, please redo the Raw ones as well. Get rid of the Spartan Head tag titles. They were bad when there was just one set of them on copper plates. They're not good now either.
I like the penny belts.
No,
not good. All time not good. All time not good. All time just oh.
I don't think
so. You want a 24/7 title like that is the pennies.
Exactly. All right, a couple of news items, and then we're going to wrap the show up. There's been a lot of talk about Kairi Sane's status in the WWE. This from Alex McCarthy of TalkSport. He says, sources tell TalkSport that Sane leaving WWE is far from set in stone. It's true she is considering returning home to Japan to be with her husband, possibly wrestling another year or so before retiring. But WWE are intent on taking care of Kairi Sane. They are set to offer her better money than she could get anywhere else in an attempt to keep her involved with the company, and it's believed she could be swayed. Dave Meltzer had previously reported that Kairi Sane was on her way out of the company and would be returning to Japan imminently. Obviously, we saw her return on Monday. Whether or not she sticks around for any considerable amount of time will remain to be seen. And then this past Monday on Raw, Heath Slater made a surprise appearance on Monday's episode of Raw in order to do a promo segment with Ziggler, and WWE Champion Drew McIntyre led to him working a quick non-title match against McIntyre, who won via Claymore kick. Following this appearance, fans were wondering what is next for Heath Slater, who was released in WWE in April. Gary Cassie of Sportskeeda reports that Slater's appearance in WWE Raw was seemingly a one-off appearance with WWE due to the nature of the segment, as he has a history with Drew McIntyre. It was added that Slater was present at a recent Talkin' Shop, a Mania tapings, and is scheduled to appear during Gallows and Anderson August 1st extravaganza. I think it was a neat little send off for Heath Slater, a good little kind of resume bump to unveil the yoked up Heath Slater to companies that could potentially be bidding for him here in about a week and a half. And it was a cool send off. I don't think he's going to re-sign, but it was good to see him on Raw and a good little send off there. Great promo by him, by the way.
Yeah, solid promo. It looks like he beefed up a little bit.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
he's got kids. He's got kids.
He does have kids.
Does he have kids? I thought that was Rhino.
Well, Rhino has kids that he can't do podcasts. Heath Slater has kids that he has to work for.
Gotcha.
Right.
To clear that up.
So they both have kids.
They both have kids. Yes.
Watch season 2 of the Big Show being Rhino and Slater living next door raising kids.
That's really all I have this week. I don't know if anybody has anything else to add. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up. Tim, you have anything else to add?
You reminded me of Talking Shop, which reminds me of Countdown to Fucktown coming up real soon. Where
that's on their Patreon, right?
Yeah, I think that's the
This is what happened with WWE.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me is I have to subscribe to their Patreon.
Yeah, which means
Okay.
I gotta Talking Shop it, and
I can do that for a month.
I can do it for however long they need me to. Because first of all, Countdown to Fucktown, great name. Second of all, I don't care. Talk to me about anything over beers. Those three guys are hilarious.
They absolutely are. Like, you know, obviously your number one priority in wrestling podcast should be us. Your number 2 priority in wrestling podcast should be the Final Wrestling Place. And then your number 3, at least in my opinion, should probably be Talking Shop, because it is absolutely an entertaining listen each and every time.
Agreed.
But yeah, I'll have to get on their Patreon. Yeah, what's that, Ryan?
Seconded. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Everything you said sounded right.
Perfect. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Matt, was there I think you had said there was going to be a Woman of the Week this week?
I did say that, and then I just didn't do it. So
Awesome.
next week, next week for sure, we will do that. A little busy on buying house, selling house, so but
understandable. I get it.
I will return with that. In the meantime, I did record 2 episodes of 3 Count Mad Libs. We had friend of the show Ariella Nix, as well as friend of the show Brittany Nicole on, and then I'm recording another one tonight in about 20 minutes that will air tomorrow. So keep an eye out for those. So we got 3 in this week. I'll try to get a couple more for you guys next week while the pandemic rolls on. Just keep an eye on our YouTube. I have them all on the same playlist. You can watch all. I think there's about 12, 13 at this point. Just check them out. It's just wrestlers staying involved in the wrestling industry because they can't really wrestle right now. So support them, support us.
And speaking of Brittany Nicole, she will be with us next week on the show, because we're going to actually predict 2 pay-per-views next week. Of course, WWE Extreme Rules, the horror show with all the gimmicks and all of that stuff. And then, of course, Impact Slammiversary, which will be next Saturday night. We will run down that card as well, because Big Jim might actually buy an Impact pay-per-view.
I have my doubts on that. Tim, she did say if you were not on this coming prediction, she will riot because you missed the WrestleMania one. So,
oh, she gonna be mad.
Oh, that's right. You're on vacation next week.
I'll be driving to West Virginia.
Oh no.
If
Virginia.
If I can get my co-pilot to drive that leg of the run, I could possibly do it from my phone.
You best work that out, Tim. We do not want to anger.
If only for Brittany. Like literally, she is the only reason I would struggle to make that happen.
We cannot anger our 6th member. That is for sure.
I miss her so much.
But Matt, where can people follow you? I guess the NBA is fingers crossed.
So yeah, the training camp reported to it today. I'm somewhat obnoxious about the Phillies too. That's starting up again as well. A little less about the Flyers and Union. And if college football is only doing conference play, and I guess you're safe during Notre Dame football season.
I guess.
Too good for a conference. So you can follow me on Twitter at 3CT, the letter A, Philly as in Philadelphia, and then the number 8. So 3CT affiliate.
I don't know. We could maybe do a home and home against like Liberty and Navy and the other independents.
Is UConn still an independent?
I think UConn might be.
Army, yeah.
I think there's 5. I think there's 5 other independents besides Notre Dame. You could do a home and home. That'll round out a good solid 10, 11 game season.
I would hope for a 5-0 season if that was the case.
If not, just cancel college football completely.
Not I'll really be obnoxious on Twitter.
Yeah. Tim, where can the people follow you at?
At Not the Tool Man across all platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, if you care. I stream on occasion, twitch.tv/Not the Tool Man. But really get behind Final Wrestling Place. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud, the whole 9. At Final Place Pod on Twitter. This season, we're talking about the boys and girls of summer. We're taking SummerSlam performances of wrestlers and comparing their body of work. And this week, we are talking about Charlotte Flair.
Oh, this past week, it was my boy.
Mm-hmm.
But I tended to agree. I agreed with you guys.
Thank you, because it's bad.
He's not a boy of summer.
He's not a boy.
But he's my boy. But
yeah,
he's not a boy of summer. To figure out who we're talking about, go check out Final Place Pod.
Yeah, wonder.
Tim or Ryan, where can people follow you?
It is at the letters RYN and then Eagle on Twitter. I don't know. I'm just tweeting about people not wearing masks and how much that upsets me right now. So that's kind of where my tweets have been. Sorry if that upsets anybody. But if you guys really want to talk boys of summer, look no further than Chronic and make sure you vote for Chronic in the upcoming thing or I'll never talk to you again.
Tim, can you mute him, please?
I think so. Yeah, I muted him. I think he can't figure out how to unmute himself. You can follow me at Big Jim Sports if you want to. But really, the thing you want to do, 3 Count Thursday, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Make sure you check out our YouTube as well. Go to 3countthursday.com. That's where you'll find out.
I can unmute myself?
Wow, amazing how that works.
God damn it, I didn't know that.
You can find everything 3 Count related at 3countthursday.com. Our home network, of course, is ngscsports.com. We also stream at Leib Sports, LEEIB Sports.com. Until next time, stay safe, stay smart, go for the pin, wear the mask, do the thing, stay safe. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Don't vote for Chronic.